Psalms 8:2. It says, from the mouths of infants and nursing babies, you have established strength because of your enemies, to do away with the enemy and the revengeful. When I consider your heavens, the work of your hands, this is verse 3. The work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have set in place. What is man that you think of him, and a son of man that you are concerned about him? Yet you have made him a little lower than God, and you crown him with glory and majesty. It's pretty amazing, that God, he's the one that deserves the worship and the praise, and yet he came to serve us. He came as a man, and he didn't come to be served. So he flips the script. And so when Jesus asks us to respond to situations spiritually, responding to situations spiritually often feels childish or looks childish, but the truth is it's really childlike. And when he asks us to do that, to say, I am going to praise in the middle of a battle, I'm going to pray in the middle of warfare, I'm going to witness in the middle of a negative, harsh experience, guess what that response is? That's a childlike faith. That's a childlike response. And we're in that moment, being like Jesus, becoming a servant. A servant is not greater than his master. I should expect to walk in the way that Jesus walked, and a lot of times it looks like becoming less, becoming like a baby, becoming like an infant, from the mouths of infants and nursing babies. And then look at this, Matthew 21:13. This is Jesus talking, okay? It says, and he said to them, it is written, my house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers. So Jesus is responding to, it was supposed to be the dwelling place of God, the Spirit of God, and they had made it into a den of robbers. So the people were not focused on God, they were focused on making money, right? Something else besides the glory of God. They'd taken that glory out of where it was meant to be, and they'd put it into something else. They'd given something else the glory. And then it says, and those who were blind and those who limped came to him in the temple area, and he healed them. So what is he doing in that moment? He's putting the glory back on God. He's saying, okay, y'all have forgotten what it's like to worship, so let me remind you of the power of the one who's worthy of worship. Let me remind you who's in your midst. And he starts to heal people. And then it says, but when the chief priests and the scribes saw the wonderful things that he had done, and the children, okay, watch this. Why does Matthew writes this? The Holy Spirit had Matthew write this for a reason. It says that Jesus responds to the people getting their focus off of worshiping God, and they began to worship mammon. So he starts to heal people. They see the glory of God manifest, right? He reminds them of who's worthy of worship. And then it says the chief priests and the scribes saw the wonderful things he had done, and the children who were shouting in the temple area, Hosanna to the Son of David, they became indignant. It says the chief priests and the scribes became indignant because the children were shouting, Hosanna to the Son of David. And they said to him, do you hear what these children are saying? And Jesus said to them, yes. Have you never read, from the mouths of infants and nursing babies, you have prepared praise for yourself? So he quotes Psalms. We've just read this from Psalms. What's the picture here? Jesus lined up, he came to the temple at a very specific moment so that the Pharisees and scribes would be on one side and the kids would be on the other side. The Pharisees and scribes would be scoffing at the work of God, and the children would be worshiping. He's painting a picture for us. Listen, all these people were technically standing in the house of God. They were all technically, in his dwelling place. But the kids were getting the benefits. And they were seeing the glory of God.